When your Maine Coon pees on the rug or suddenly turns a cold shoulder, they aren't acting out of spite. These behaviors are actually desperate, silent cries for help, reactions to innocent mistakes we make every single day. Take the litter box. To us, an overdue scoop is just a minor mess, but Maine Coons are descended from outdoor hunters. In their minds, unburied waste acts as a beacon for predators. Stepping into a dirty box triggers a deep survival instinct but tells them they are in immediate danger. This chart shows a direct comparison of human versus feline olfactory capacity. A Maine Coon's sense of smell is 14 times stronger than ours. What registers as a slight odor to you is experienced by them as a thick, overwhelming cloud of vulnerability. The disconnect continues with how we handle their vocalizations. Adult cats actually do not meow at other cats. A Maine Coon's highly vocal chirps and meows are a dedicated parent language developed exclusively for you. When you consistently ignore those meows, maybe because you're busy or looking at your phone, the psychological toll is heavy. They eventually develop learned helplessness. They stop trying to communicate altogether, and signs of deep trust, like the slow blink, completely disappear. The accidents on the floor and the sudden withdrawal are their way of telling you they feel entirely exposed, ignored, and unsafe in what should be their own territory. Their physical presence creates another major misunderstanding. A Maine Coon's sheer size and thick muscle mass give the illusion of rugged durability, but underneath that heavy coat is an incredibly fragile nervous system. This blueprint maps why hugs can hurt. Maine Coons possess 1.3 million pressure-sensitive pain receptors. Lifting them by the armpits forces their heavy weight down, crushing their fragile spine. To lift safely, always support their chest and scoop their hind legs. Cats evolved to hide injury, suffering through incorrect handling in silence until it becomes unbearable. When a Maine Coon finally swats or bites while being held, they aren't acting aggressively. They are desperately trying to stop severe human-inflicted pain. That sensory overload extends far beyond physical touch. We frequently expose them to intense environmental stress, starting with the basic noises of our daily lives, which are violently amplified by the massive surface area of their ears. Look at this chart comparing our auditory limits. Humans top out at 20,000 Hz, while cats process frequencies all the way up to 64,000. On their spectrum, the low hum of a vacuum cleaner registers with the acoustic force of a localized explosion. Exposing them to this level of acoustic input immediately floods their bloodstream with cortisol. The living room instantly transforms into a hostile environment. They also rely heavily on predictability to feel secure. Their intense intelligence means they anticipate your daily schedule down to the minute. When you abruptly change that routine, like suddenly returning to the office after working from home, it acts as a direct trigger to the amygdala, the fear center of their brain. You are taking a highly capable apex predator, removing all of its environmental control and replacing it with noise and unpredictability. It forces their brain into a chronic, destructive state of survival anxiety. This brings us to the most insidious mistake: severe mental boredom. A Maine Coon is highly observant, capable of complex problem-solving, and roughly equivalent in intelligence to a 2-year-old human. Leaving them locked inside an unstimulating home is like trapping a toddler in a blank room. 99% of their brain architecture is wired for the hunt. Without an outlet, that coiled, predatory energy turns inward, manifesting as obsessive grooming, excessive weight gain, and destructive behavior toward your furniture. To relieve that intellectual suffocation, you have to replace their idle time with active problem-solving. This means introducing complex puzzle feeders that force them to work for their meals, and installing high vertical climbing spaces that simulate the physical mechanics of navigating a forest canopy. Take a hard look at your own home. You can start relieving their stress today by scooping the litter box every single morning and committing to 20 minutes of active wand toy play to engage their hunting drive. Once you stop looking at your Maine Coon through a human lens and start translating these everyday mistakes into the language of feline biology, the mystery of their behavior vanishes. You stop inadvertently hurting your best friend and finally build the safe, intellectually stimulating sanctuary they need to thrive.